Mr. Kutab, do you want to respond to this? Do you want to help us understand what the situation is in Rafah in these refugee camps?
I'm surprised. I'm surprised at India. I'm surprised at your guest. This is trying to cover up a genocide by claiming that this Israel is attacking. They're attacking civilians. They are occupying areas and they control the whole area. They occupied it. They broke it. They're responsible for it. The law of war says occupiers must take care of people under their occupation. The Israelis have always occupied Gaza and West Bank since 1967. They've not allowed people to return from 1948. They put Gaza under siege for 16 years. This is a country that is committing war crimes, and the international court has said that. Even the Americans have said that. The French complained yesterday about what happened. This is a genocidal war, and in this country of Israel is committing acts of war, and that's what we have to explain them. We should not try to cover or justify these acts of war. I can talk for a long time, but I think I'm going to end here because I'm not involved. I'm interested in a debate with a warmonger who is defending war crimes. I'm really sorry, but I cannot continue with a person like this who's just defending war crimes. The situation is very clear. There is occupation, it has to end. Israel must accept international law, must apply international the law of war, and must exit immediately. They cannot defeat Hamas. They cannot defeat the PLO. They cannot deny the 5.5 million Palestinians or more the right
Mr.
of
Kutab,
self-determination.
point taken. There are no winners in a war. There are both sides to this. The Israelis have their own version. The Palestinians have their own situation to deal with. But Dr. Pinko, let me...
I'm not in.
Let me understand from you, Dr. Pinko. You know, the ICJ has given its ruling to halt Israel.
I'm not interested in debate because this is a war crime.
Okay, we're not debating here, Mr. Kutab. We're just trying to understand both sides of this war. We're trying to understand both sides of this war, Mr. Kutab. Nobody is debating. But Dr. Pinko, you know, the ICJ has recently ruled that Israel needs to halt its offensive in Rafah. Time and again, various global organizations have urged Israel to stop the war. Why aren't you? Why aren't you stopping the war when it's not just the Palestinians who are suffering, it's Israelis as well who are suffering on ground in this war?
First, you know, we need to read the history books. And so according to the history books, while the Oslo peace agreement the Gaza Strip was handed in 2007 to the Palestinian Authority, which after that Hamas took control. So it's not an Israeli territory. This is one. Secondly, we are suffering in the last 17 years from numerous terror attacks. Many Israeli killed. It's not only in the last year. For 17 years, Israel is under terror attacks from Hamas. And it's about time that Hamas will be eliminated and not be able to rule the Gaza Strip. It should be back to the PLO as it was before. This is the main issue here. And we need to remember that more than 100
So you're saying, Dr. Pinko, that Israel will not follow any international advice, any global law?
First, you know, the Hague Court of Law is not a relevant place. It's you know, it's being headed by a very far left guy, which is he's a pro-Palestinian. It's anti-Israeli for many years. This is well known. So everything is being towards his direction. Secondly, what was the verdict over there is that Israel should be avoided of going into Rafah while keeping lives over there and maintaining the health. So Israel is doing that, while Hamas they are not, you know, they are using men and children and women. They are using them as a human shield. So Israel still is not playing against the Hague Court of Law. We are playing with the rules. And I think that Israel has, as you said, all the right to defend itself from these terror attacks that are coming from the Gaza Strip and from Hamas.
Okay, let me then ask you, Dr. Pinko, quickly about the peace negotiations that are about to begin. We're being told that there is no fixed date for it yet, but it involves Egypt, Qatar, and America. Are you willing to sit there and talk and sort this out and end the war?
see Israel in the last 3 months trying to sit with Hamas in Qatar and in Egypt and to go to a peace agreement. It's not a peace, really. It's just a ceasefire. There is no peace for the last 17 years. Okay, it's only in between ceasefires. Israel tried, the head of the Mossad, the Internal Security Service, and some other politicians went to Qatar. They went to Egypt to try to negotiate. American negotiators came and tried to mitigate within. Hamas didn't want to go into any kind of peace agreement. They wanted to get Jerusalem as part of this agreement. Okay. They want many other not relevant issues in order to go to peace agreement. Israel stopped its military maneuvers for more than 2 months in order to sit down to have a treaty, a ceasefire. Hamas didn't want it. Hamas didn't want it. It did moves for that were not peaceful. So I think there is no any choice for that. If there will be any reasonable...
Mr. Kutab, you want to respond to Dr. Pinko that Hamas did not want a peace treaty there, a ceasefire, and that Israel has been willing to do that, but time and again Absolutely. Hamas has shot it down. And do you see any move forward? Mr. Kutab.
Is it to me, the question?
Yes, Mr. Kutab.
I can't hear anything.
Mr. Kutab, are you able to hear me?
Now I can hear you, yes.
Yes, Mr. Kutab, would you like to respond to Dr. Pinko? He says that Israel has offered ceasefire and a peace treaty earlier, but Hamas is the one who's been, shooting it down, rejecting it, and is not willing to come to the table and be on the same page.
Ask the Americans, ask the chief of the CIA. The Americans were in Qatar. They sent to the Israelis an agreement that Hamas agreed, and the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu rejected it. The Palestinians want the end of the war. The Israelis don't want to end the war. They want to keep killing Palestinians. The offer is on the table to end the war and get all the hostages released and all the Palestinian prisoners released. The Israelis don't want to, they just want to keep attacking Palestinians. They're not going to defeat Hamas because Hamas is not just a military. It's an idea, an ideology. You don't defeat ideologies. You want peace, sit down with the Palestinian leadership, and even Prime Minister Netanyahu doesn't want to talk to the PLO, doesn't want to talk to Mahmoud Abbas, who's offering to make a peace treaty in Gaza and the West Bank and ending the occupation. But the Israelis want a piece of our land, not peace treaty. They don't want to give us peace. They just want to control our lives, and they already control the West Bank, even though there's no Hamas there. 500 Palestinians were killed in the West Bank since October 7th, 14 in prisons. So the Israelis are not honest about wanting peace. They just want to control and take revenge for what happened to them.
Okay. I'll have to leave it there. Dr. Pinko and Daud Kutab, thank you very much to both of you gentlemen. Nobody likes war, and we hope that this war ends soon, and the suffering of the people who have to go through all of this every day of their lives ends soon. Thank you very much to both of you gentlemen for joining us on Mirror Now and sharing your thoughts. Thank you very much.